In this edition of Detroit Performs, an Egyptian-American finds a career in her love for designing and creating with clay.
My unique talent is to take another piece of art or a motif from some other place and adapt it into a Motawi tile.
A poet reveals a poignant history through verse.
When you write a poem in your language, you write it one time. And when you think in the other language and try to write a poem in the other language, I feel as if it's a new poem.
Citizens critique art happenings around the area.
And the best thing about Detroit theater is that you have a lot of people that are starting from the ground up. A lot of people that went to local colleges and universities in Detroit, and they're grassroots organizations.
An artist with divine inspiration.
Every piece of art I do, I can't explain how I did it. It was meant to be.
And an Iraqi painter who left his country in search of the American ideal.
Here, indeed, I feel complete freedom without any feeling of something who watch me, what I do, and what I paint or what I think. I have freedom here.
It's all ahead in this edition of Detroit Performs.
Major funding for Detroit Performs is provided by the McGregor Fund. Additional funding is provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello guys, I am DJ Oliver and this is Detroit Performs. Now Detroit is a city brimming with lots of different cultures, and along with these different cultures comes an amazing array of artistic expression. Now we're here today at the Arab-American National Museum in Dearborn, where many of the artists highlighted in today's show have been showcased, including our first one. In 1992, artist and entrepreneur Nawal Motawi created Motawi Tile Works, where work, art, and life are integrated in a flourishing design business.
I started Motawi Tile Works in a garage. I started with one employee, me. I gained another person in the business. It was a brother of mine who actually became a business partner of mine for 16 years. So for a long time, there were two of us. I took my tile to the farmer's market, which cost $11 a day. You know, we had to get up at 7 in the morning and take tile over there and hawk tile next to the rutabaga cellar. Right now, Motawi has 25 employees, plus 5 more in the clay making business. Motawi Tile Works makes about 100,000 individual pieces of tile a year. When I first started out, I must have made 1/10 of that or less. I think I'm an entrepreneur partly because I'm unemployable, frankly. I have strong opinions about how things should be done. I have some Egyptian relatives who own their businesses as well. One of my uncles runs his own business, so that entrepreneurial streak is definitely runs through the family on the Egyptian side and the American side. What I love about being my own boss is controlling my minutes. Morning, Gretchen.
Hi, Nawal.
I'll come in the morning, throw my things down, and take a walk around the tile works first thing, pretty much. Let's go out in the shop. All right. So, looking at these. Those look all right. I'll look at the job board and see how much work we have. I'll look in on bulb glazing, take a look at what's on the tables. I'll check the Kanban board to see what our stock levels are like. I'll head back to the tables where the tiles that have come out of the kilns in the morning are sitting, and review the tiles that have come out of the kilns, take a look at them, and I may answer some questions that someone may have. It's important to me to listen to my employees. I've hired the best ones I can because I want their opinion. To keep my employees happy, one of the big things I do is try to foster a positive environment. We offer a free monthly luncheon. We give out quarterly gift certificates to every staffer so that they can buy our beautiful things. I think that if I take care of my employees first, that they will take care of my customers. So really, in the hierarchy of who's most important, it should be employees first, customers second. Being attracted to art is just something that comes from inside. My inspiration for the tile pieces that I make come from things that I see, largely from books and mostly from other artworks, to be honest. My unique talent is to take another piece of art or a motif from some other place and adapt it into a Motawi tile. I call it Noelizing the tile. It's Motawiizing. It's what I do to take a piece of art that I find enchanting and render it in such a way that we can make a tile using Motawi's technique and Motawi's colors into a beautiful piece of tile work.
The designs that we make really sell well, and they come mostly from her. And I also like that she asks for suggestions.
If you have another one, we could do a couple of them.
Actually,
and switch.
yeah. Okay, do that. Yeah, so I can say.
Do various lights and darks
Yeah.
and write down which ones I did and which styles.
Ooh, and I love this one. This
Oh, yeah.
that same
The
5063. We make field tile, which is what people know as just flat tile. Relief tile, which is tile that has a single glaze on it, and like a bas relief. And we make polychrome tile, which are tile that just have a little ridge separating color areas, so it's a very graphic looking tile. Making our tile starts with the clay, which we get ready mixed to our special recipe. We put it through a pug mill, which de-airs and conditions the clay. De-airing means taking the air out of it. We place pieces of clay on a press. We use a hydraulic press, which forms the actual tile. The press leaves a ragged edge, which we trim off by hand. After the tile have dried a little bit, we smooth the outer edges so when people are handling them, they don't cut their hands. We put the tile in a kiln and fire it once. And then we glaze the tile.
Choose my first color, which will be number 5003. Grab the bucket, put it at my station, and then use a regular bulb from the pharmacy. You want to keep it really smooth and really, not too thick and not too thin. I always say make it medium. Now, it'll dry for a second, and then we're going to take it to the dip after they're colored. Most of our tiles go into this dip. And then put it up with the rest of the tiles. And then later, we'll load them all into the kiln for their final firing.
So after the tiles come out of the kilns, they are sorted, they're counted, and sent on their merry way. Many of them get shipped off to galleries and fine craft galleries around the country. There are a number of Motawi installations around Ann Arbor, I'm happy to say. My favorite installation is perhaps the mural at the Pittsfield branch of the Public Library of the boy reading. We also have a bunch of installations at University of Michigan Hospital. In fact, every floor in that hospital has a Motawi mural. And I know that people enjoy seeing those. In fact, one day we took our entire staff to visit that installation in the hospital. And as this pack of 20 of us were rounding the corner into the elevator lobby, we caught a woman standing right up against our tile with her hand up to it, and she was stroking the tile. It was she was very embarrassed, but she totally made our day. I think we all felt like we were part of a bigger thing that was going on. I think that's what I'm hoping my staff feel, that they realize they're part of something bigger than just glazing a tile. Their work makes people happy. Making tile is deceptively complicated. Many people think you roll out a little thin piece of clay, cut it up and stick it in a kiln, and of course there are many, many steps. At Motawi we make that look easy, and I know that it's not. I think I'm really, really fortunate to live in America, and to live in America in this time. I know that 100 years ago I could never have had this much opportunity and freedom to create this business. And in many other countries, this would not happen either.
To learn more about Motawi Tile Works, visit www.motawi.com. And as always, you can find all the other artists highlighted in today's show at DetroitPerforms.org. Now, Dunya Mikhail is an Iraqi-American poet who was forced to flee her country in the mid-1990s after she discovered that she was being targeted by Saddam Hussein's regime. Here, she reflects on her poetry and a cherished memento from her journey.
Passport that's special that I kept, although it's expired, but the reason that I'll always keep is that it's unique. It says that my profession is a poet. Although it's expired, I'll always keep it. It says here expired on May 19th, 94. And that's the time or the day I left my country, Baghdad. Being a poet, you don't need a leave of absence from anywhere. I started to think of myself as a poet first in high school. And then in the college, I had my first book published. And that was in Baghdad. It was not my intention to make peace or to change the world. That was not my goal. I don't believe that poetry has these type of tasks. Before coming here, I always, write in Arabic. I don't even think about the translation or English. Then I realized this language issue that you have this duality, not only duality of being, duality of existence, duality of memories, but duality of language. When you write a poem in your language, you write it one time. And when you think in the other language and try to write a poem in the other language, I feel as if it's a new poem. They say lost in translation, but also as things found in translation. I became an American citizen in the year 2007, and I earned that hyphen. Now I became Iraqi-American. And contemplating, looking at that, I was thinking that hyphen, I always think of it. And it looks like a subtraction, but it's actually a plus. In reality, it adds to you. When people ask me, are you going to go back? I feel it's a strange question, as if I have to go back to a dream. And sometimes you feel like, was it you really that you were in that place? Did you see all that? Will I see what I know? Will I know what I see? I mean, it is really, I feel as if I woke up from that life. People say it's exile, they call it, but really this is for me, if I have to call it exile, then maybe I would say exile, sweet exile.
In 2001, Dunya Mikhail received the UN Human Rights Award for freedom of writing. To see more of her work, visit her website at dunyamikhail.com. Now, each week, Detroit Perform highlights the works of a mobile arts journalism team, Critic Card Detroit.
All right, I'm Anton Bassi. I am a cast member of Elizabeth Theater's Measure for Measure, directed by Jerry Bellinger. It's a fantastic show. The beauty about it is that Jerry and I, we went to Wayne State together, and he started his own theater company, and this was back in 2007. And fast forward 6 years later, and here he is. And the best thing about Detroit theater is that you have a lot of people that are starting from the ground up. A lot of people that went to local colleges and universities in Detroit, and they're grassroots organizations. And there's really nothing negative to be said about it because they're just very passionate people and they believe in the theater scene and revitalizing it, and which is, I'm happy to be a part of that. So if you get a chance, come down and see Measure for Measure at the Park Bar and support local talent, support local actors, because it's a beautiful thing.
You can view more of Credit Card Detroit Citizen Reviews on their Facebook page and YouTube channel. And now, here's a look at some of the arts events happening this week in our community. Next up, we meet Islamic artist Ozma Mirza, who paints Arabic words as musical notes. Now take a look at how Mirza combines music and faith.
God, the creator, my architect, he speaks to me through my hand when I draw and I paint. Every piece of art I do, I can't explain how I did it. It was meant to be.
Call Fort Wayne's Ozma Mirza, an architect by trade, a poet, a musician, a philanthropist, a painter with shows around the country. But if you ask me, she's a seeker.
I was born and I woke up in this world, forgot where I came from. The whole journey is about remembering, which is called dhikr, or reminder, who I am. And that's the quest. It's this word that's often misused in the Islamic world called jihad. Really, the jihad really means is a war with the self. It's to know the self. So my art is about knowing the self.
Ozma was born in Nova Scotia and worked in the States, and wants her followers to cast all preconceptions aside. For in spite of its ancient roots, her art is uniquely homegrown. Part of Ozma's Islamic art takes the Arabic names from the Quran and arranges them as musical scores.
Like Al-Ghafur, which is the forgiving, or An-Nur, the light. And each of these are actual names with the Arabic letters. These are notes, they're flowing, and we can reflect them, and they're like the notes of God. I go further and say it is finding the heart of the Tin Man. And the sustainable human is a Tin Man. The art is finding that heart as a Muslim woman. I have found it, I just need to clean it. I'm polishing it every day, daily, till I die.
To learn more about Ozma Mirza's work and to see more of her paintings, visit penandinkpot.org. Now we're here today with Devin Ackman of the Arab-American National Museum here in Dearborn. What's up, Devin?
Hey, how are you?
How you doing, man?
Welcome.
All right, thank you. Now we're in front of an ancient hospitality sign.
Exactly.
Can you tell me more about that?
Exactly. Ahlan wa sahlan is a welcoming saying in Arab and Arab-American culture.
Okay.
It's often depicted in homes in Arab-American households here in local Southeast Michigan.
Okay.
This is a depiction by an artist named Alia Husseini. She's a local Syrian-American artist, and it's part of the Ahlan wa Sahlan project in which we solicited artwork from local artists here for the museum.
Okay. Now tell me about some of the other exhibits around here, because I've been like a little kid at the candy store walking around here trying to figure everything out. So.
Sure. We have 3 permanent exhibits here at the museum.
Okay.
Coming to America, which is the immigration story.
Okay.
Living in America, which is about Arab-American culture here in the U.S. and making an impact. These are noted Arab-Americans who have contributed to the American culture in a big way. Additionally, we host lots of local art exhibits as well as convenings of Arab-American artists from around the country.
Okay. Now, what kind of local artists do you feature here at the museum?
Sure, we have artists that really represent the gamut of Arab-American culture. So we have artists by 3rd generation Arab-Americans as well as those who have recently acclimated to life here in the country.
Okay. All right, that sounds good, man. I mean, I love this place. I mean, I've just been around here for a little bit so far, but it seems pretty good. Thanks, Devin.
Thank you.
And now, let's take a look at a listing of galleries in Detroit. When museums in Iraq were destroyed during the Iraqi War, many people in the United States heard about it on the news. Farooq Hassan was in Baghdad when it happened, and he lost part of himself that day. He fled the war for the United States, leaving behind his homeland and a reputation as one of Iraq's most prized artists.
It's a far cry from his 5-bedroom mansion in Baghdad. Farooq Hassan turns an already tiny apartment kitchen into his art studio.
When I work, I like to hear music. Classic, all the classic.
But as long as he has canvas and paint, Farooq is satisfied.
I feel inside me, inside my soul,
إنه هاي اللوحة هي بس الموجودة.
that this painting is the only one here. Is the only thing in here.
فكل شيء من حولي ما أشعر به، وأحياناً أخلي بس الموسيقى.
So actually, I don't feel that it's a small place. I feel just me and the painting.
Without skipping a beat, Farooq carries forward the art career he started more than 50 years ago.
I try to taste many kind of style when I was young, and I continue.
Over the past 50 years in Iraq, Farooq mastered so many styles, so diverse, you might think the work came from several different artists. His work hung in galleries in London, Amman, Jordan, and at home in Basra and Baghdad. The Iraqi government contracted with Farooq to design more than 80 different stamps. The people of Iraq knew the art of Farooq Hassan. In 2010, Farooq fled to the United States and left behind all of his work and his fame.
It's like losing yourself.
Yeah, of course. But I try to renew myself.
Farooq took his paintings to the Geezer Gallery in Multnomah, where curators embraced his art immediately.
Well, without a doubt, he was extremely experienced. His layout, his form, design, color, it was magnificent. He is into that master's quality, obviously a lifetime of artwork.
The gallery is hanging Farooq's solo exhibition.
He is flourishing, and what a thrill to be a part of that.
Today, Farooq's paintings strike a similar central theme.
I want to create a beautiful painting. The first thing I choose, the women. The women is beautiful, of course. They're beautiful. I believe that the women is the origin of the life.
You'll find examples of veiled women in Farooq's earlier work. Today, Farooq has done away with the veil.
This woman is the truth. The truth is open, but the untrue is covered. Covered their mind, covered their brain. Here, indeed, I feel complete freedom without any feeling of something who watch me, what I do and what I paint or what I think. Here I have freedom. I have freedom here.
Once a national treasure of Iraq, Farooq Hassan starts over as a complete unknown in a new country and begins the process of rebuilding his reputation.
To see more of Farooq's work, visit geezergallery.com/gallery. And that wraps it up for this edition of Detroit Performs. For more information on arts and culture, visit DetroitPerforms.org, where you'll find featured videos, blogs, and upcoming information on arts events. Until next Tuesday, I am DJ Oliver. Thanks for watching, guys.
Major funding for Detroit Performs is provided by the McGregor Fund. Additional funding is provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.